It was like every 15 to 20 minutes that went past, guys was going past this one cell. So when he yanked the door open, they just throw the cups of boo-boo in there on him.
After getting denied bail at his latest court hearing, David is now getting sent straight to lockup. Officials confirmed he's been transferred to the Men's Central Jail in LA County, and things are already looking serious for him. This isn't a situation he can talk his way out of anymore, and the reality is hitting fast. Reports are saying he's been placed in solitary confinement because he's a public figure, but a lot of people online think his fame might protect him. That's not happening. One viral post even said his celebrity status won't mean anything behind those walls. Even while in solitary, he still gets that 1 hour of rec time every day, and that's when things could get tense because other inmates may confront him over the charges he's facing. There's really no guaranteed way to stay safe in a place like that after being accused of what he did. A former inmate even spoke out, explaining what could go down, saying David might barely leave his cell. But that won't stop others from trying to reach him. As they put it, inmates could still try to get
our defenders and treated in prison. They got treated bad. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even think nothing about that. I just know that it was like every 15 to 20 minutes that went past, guys was going past this one cell. And it'd be like, there's three of them. One of them would grab the cell door and then be on this side like this, and then the other two would be on this side. So the one, and they did this like every 20 to 30 minutes, every like clockwork. And this one would yank the door open, and the other two on this side had cups full of and boo-boo. So when he yanked the door open, they just throw the cups of boo-boo in there on him, and then boom, close the door, lock it on him. You know, so that was crazy. But and then some was getting jumped on, some was getting slapped, extorted, some was having to do favors.
However, things get even worse for David. According to his arrest report, he's listed at 5'5" and only 125 pounds, which puts him at a serious disadvantage in a prison setting. That kind of size difference doesn't go unnoticed, and people are already pointing out how risky that could be for him. On top of that, gaining strength inside isn't as easy as people think. Details about the jail's meal plan have already surfaced, and it's not exactly built for bulking up. 6 days a week, dinner reportedly consists of macaroni with beef, 1 apple, 8 ounces of milk, and a peanut butter granola bar for dessert. That's not the kind of diet that's going to change much, especially in a high-pressure environment like that. But here's where the situation takes another turn. Once David is officially placed into a housing unit, word will spread fast that a known figure has arrived. Inmates often share information from cell to cell, and his charges won't stay quiet for long. From there, people inside may form their own opinions about whether he's accepted or not, and that kind of attention can shift the entire atmosphere around him. His official charges were then laid out publicly, and they immediately grabbed attention. Reports claimed the incident involved a sharp object, and prosecutors listed multiple serious charges, including M charge, allegations tied to financial motives, preventing testimony, and other related claims. There are also additional accusations connected to what happened to Celeste after the incident, and those details are expected to spark strong reactions, especially considering her age. All of this was further broken down by Jesse Weber of Law and Crime, bringing even more focus to the case and raising questions about what happens next for David.
First of all, we suspected that David would be charged with murder after that was what he was arrested for, and in other court documents that came out a couple months ago, we know that he was being investigated for murder. But first-degree murder with special circumstances? Lying in wait to murdering a witness as part of an investigation? Murdering for financial gain? And now facing the possibility of the death penalty, even though it's my understanding there is a moratorium in California. That is a huge deal.
David's family finally spoke out, and their response raised eyebrows. They said, "We are disappointed, but not surprised that the district attorney made this decision, making it clear they still stand behind him 100%. But while they were showing support, a lot of people were focused on something else entirely: David's own reaction in that courtroom. As the judge started listing off the charges, all eyes were on him. Reports say he was sitting there with his mouth open, looking shocked or even like he was trying to say something, especially when the judge brought up the possible penalties. That moment caught attention fast, and people inside the courtroom could feel the tension spike instantly. Then it was time for his legal team to step in and respond. According to the statement from his defense, they said, quote, "We believe the actual evidence will show David did not commit the crime, nor was he the cause of her passing." They pushed for a preliminary hearing within 10 days, as required, making it clear they want everything out in the open as soon as possible. They added they want all the evidence brought forward at the earliest opportunity, which set the next key date as April 23rd. But outside the courtroom, people were already speculating heavily. Some believe that depending on what comes out in the evidence, David's situation could get even more intense before he even reaches trial. There's talk about how inmates might react once details spread, especially with how fast information moves inside. David seemed to understand that pressure too. When his lawyers entered the not guilty plea, he reportedly looked extremely nervous, with his eyes darting around the room. Observers described his body language as tense, almost like he knew how serious things were getting. Reports say David Burke reportedly appeared nervous with his eyes darting around and plead not guilty, while his attorneys continued pushing for a full preliminary hearing with grand jury transcripts to be reviewed on April 23rd. He was also denied bail again, keeping him locked in as everything unfolds. Now here's where things take another turn. An investigator revealed that prosecutors are dealing with over 40 terabytes of discovery in this case. That's a massive amount of data, and it's going to take time for the defense to go through all of it. Still, the scale of that evidence has people talking, especially with claims that some details have already started leaking online. According to those reports, part of the evidence includes material from David's phone, including a saved photo showing him and Celeste in a designer Rip-style hoodie. One note even said, "Saw this on Reddit. Is this hoodie circled? Not the same one Celeste is wearing," pointing out similarities between clothing seen in different images. Investigators also referenced a photo showing a similar hoodie on the floor inside David's room, along with the selfie he reportedly took there, leading to questions about their connection at the time. During the investigation of David's home, authorities also recovered a sweater that Celeste had been seen wearing during a Twitch live stream. That detail added another layer to the timeline they're trying to piece together, and it's now part of the broader evidence being reviewed as the case moves forward.
Yo, wait.
Oh, look it. Answer that one. That's so mean if you don't answer
Which
that.
one? What's good, David? Big fan, big spot me. Bro, thank you. Mitchell.
I gotta stop with him if you even.
Are
We need to delete this.
Maz, can we delete all vibes? And then as soon as the stream ends, delete the stream too?
Investigators also pointed to that live stream clip, suggesting it may have been their way of quietly introducing the relationship to David's fans and supporters. That moment alone had people talking, but what came next pushed things into a whole different level of shock. Because during the phone search, authorities reportedly discovered a video that they say looked like a confession. That detail hit hard, and it instantly changed how many people started viewing the entire situation.
Hey guys, I know I haven't posted on this account in a little minutes, but I just had some words to share with you for 2025. Despite all the craziness that's going on, all the turmoil, the natural disasters, the pain and things like that, this year I just wanted to tell you guys not to be discouraged and not to lose hope and not to turn your face from God in these times of evil. And it seems like just at the start of the year, it's literally January and all this stuff is happening. It's like the most insane, it's February now, but it's the most insane start to a year that I've ever seen. But God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. So keep that sound mind, 2025. Stay prayed up.
In that video, David reportedly started talking about multiple passings happening in his life lately, which immediately caught investigators' attention. That's when they dug deeper, checking the metadata to see exactly when the video was recorded and then cross-referencing it with information about his family and close friends. What they found didn't line up at all. There were no documented passings connected to the people around him at the time that video was made, which raised serious questions about what he actually meant in that moment. Investigators began to suggest that he could have been referring to Celeste, and that possibility quickly became a major point of focus. They also added 2 separate interviews from David into the evidence. In one of them, he talks about wanting to disappear to an island with no social media within 4 years, which people online immediately started connecting to the timeline of events. Some pointed out that this time frame would have lined up with Celeste reaching adulthood, making that statement even more controversial as discussions around the case continue.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Okay, so the plan is hopefully this music thing takes off crazy next year.
Why is he saying? Why are you saying that like you're not like up there?
Well, I'm not there yet, but hopefully it's like even crazier next year. And then I go on crazy year after year for the next 3 years. And then on the 4th year, I retire. And on the 5th year, I'm off the grid, living somewhere like on an island with this crazy crib. No social media, no digital footprint. I'm just gone. I'm just gone. In 5 years, I'm gonna be gone.
Will you still remember me?
Yeah, bro.
Come on,
You'll
bro.
have like the secret codes to the mansion.
Yeah?
You can pull up on every.
What's the secret code? Give us the first two numbers.
Absolutely
Of the secret.
not.
Investigators also pointed out something strange about one of the interview questions. He was asked where he sees himself in 5 years, but instead, David answered by talking about 4 years, which immediately stood out to them. That small detail raised eyebrows, especially with everything else being reviewed in the case. But the second interview mentioned in the evidence file took things even further. It connects to an alleged photo that surfaced online, showing David wearing a wig similar to one Celeste had worn. People noted that he's into anime conventions, which by itself isn't an issue at all. What really caught investigators off guard was how he described it during the interview. David openly talked about having an alter ego and said he likes to imagine living in an anime-style world. He described picturing himself as a character who goes out and commits very serious crimes, and that statement immediately set off concern. Investigators highlighted this part heavily, urging people to listen closely to the exact crimes he mentioned in that interview.
Basically, an agent of chaos and kind of my alter ego, and the story of the manga went like I was a detective and there was an evil version of myself that would kind of come out at random moments, kind of like Fight Club with Tyler Durden, and he would commit the crimes that I would have to solve as the detective. So like when I was as the detective, I'd be like solving that I'm committing myself. And it was like a cool little story. I didn't think anything would come of it, like it was in the vault.
Investigators even highlighted a viral comment that started making rounds online. It read, "There's hundreds of crimes that he could have used as an example when describing his alter ego. But he chooses to say that I can't be the only one seeing how obvious this all is, right?" That line alone had people debating hard, with many questioning why he picked those specific examples. Viewers were urged to pay attention, with some saying, "Like the video if that's odd to you," because what came next in the case only added more twists. The next piece of evidence had people seriously shocked, especially with how investigators handled the situation. Before David was even arrested, authorities made a strategic move by summoning his family to court. Reports stated David's family has been summoned to testify as witnesses before a grand jury in the passing of Celeste, which immediately shifted attention toward them. That decision didn't go unnoticed, and it created a lot of pressure around the situation. Then things took another unexpected turn just 48 hours later. David's Tesla was reportedly scheduled to be auctioned off after sitting unclaimed in an impound lot. But right before the auction could go through, he suddenly showed up to retrieve it. Some believe he thought all eyes were on his family being called to testify, and that moment may have influenced his decision to act fast.
Let me read you what Steve recently posted on X, okay? David's Tesla, the vehicle in which Celeste Rivas Hernandez was found, was held by LAPD for only 48 hours to process evidence. After that, it was returned to the impound lot for David to retrieve, which he had not done until today. The Tesla was scheduled to go to auction tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., and I had planned to attend and inspect it. However, in the final hours before auction, David, or someone with power of attorney acting on his behalf, picked it up. When I checked last week, the storage fees were approximately $10,500, as the vehicle had been released and available for pickup since September 10th, before Celeste had been identified. I hope just the thought of that vehicle haunts David and anyone else that knew Celeste was in the trunk for the rest of their lives.
Some believe this showed that David was fully aware of what was going on, especially when it came to handling his own property and making sure he got it back. That detail then shifted attention directly to his personal space, where investigators began taking a closer look at what was inside his private rental home. And what they reportedly found caught them completely off guard. According to reports, a private investigator revealed an incinerator capable of burning at temperatures up to 1,600 degrees has been found inside David's home, a discovery that quickly raised serious questions and added even more intensity to the investigation.
I've been wondering just what it was that a private investigator named Steve Fisher found inside David's home when he was given access last October. The PI reported seeing, quote, items you would expect to find on a farm, rather than in a home in the Hollywood Hills. And today, we are learning about one of those items.
That piece of equipment raised even more questions once people realized what it's usually used for. It's typically found on farms, and in Los Angeles, it's not something you can legally have without the proper permit or a registered agricultural setup. That instantly led people to ask, why did David have it, and how did he even manage to get it in the first place? But it didn't stop there. Another detail from the evidence file had people seriously confused. Investigators pointed to a video showing David outside on his balcony, cleaning a pair of Celeste's shoes in the dark. These were reportedly the same Jordans she had been seen wearing earlier, which made the timing and setting feel even more unusual. According to reports, he was out there late at night carefully cleaning them, and some believe he thought he was being slick by trying to remove anything that could be linked back to him. That move only added more suspicion instead of clearing anything up. There were also claims that David tried to move his assets around before everything escalated. Sources stated David hired his new legal firm and transferred assets out of his name. He's preparing for the police to close on him. Expect his arrest soon, suggesting he may have been anticipating what was coming. And as things unfolded, he was eventually arrested, with many pointing back to those financial moves as part of a bigger picture.
You know, transferring these assets in the middle of an investigation, as opposed to 2 years ago or a year ago.
Right.
Could a court look at this and say, this was a deliberate attempt to, what you say, concealing assets, and they could breach it, they could pierce it, they could say, even though that you've transferred this into your mother's name, that was invalid. This is a way for, let's say, a plaintiff who sues him, or let's say in a criminal judgment to pay that fine. Can a court look at that and say, even though you transferred it, it's still open season on those properties?
Yeah, this is what's so puzzling about this. It is a very basic premise of law throughout the country that you can't transfer assets after the event happens that would otherwise trigger collecting on those assets. So we have rules in different states. Sometimes they're called fraudulent transfers. Sometimes they're called fraudulent conveyances. There's a lot of different names for them. But the crux of it is you cannot transfer assets.
While David tried pulling a fast one on Elise by attempting to protect his assets and money, it didn't play out the way he expected. Those moves didn't hold up for long, and people quickly started noticing what was going on behind the scenes. The situation even caught the attention of DJ academics, who at the time began digging into David's song titles, adding another layer of curiosity to everything unfolding.
Crashing. Where'd it go wrong? Ghost. Where did you go? Afterlife?
But here's where things take another turn. A lot of people were asking why it took so long for David to actually get arrested, and reports suggest there was a strategy behind it. Investigators were allegedly working to get people in his circle to speak up, and eventually some of them did. A new witness in the Celeste case stepped forward and directly called out David, claiming he was responsible for her passing. That alone was a major development, but what really caught attention was who this person turned out to be. According to reports, it was someone described as David's secret lover named Neo. Before David's arrest, Neo posted on Instagram saying, "Thankfully, I'm legally fine in every way. Boy, do I got my receipts for everything?" Which immediately had people speculating about what kind of information he might have. That post quickly gained traction, and soon after, news broke about a formal investigation by the state of California connected to David. Reports indicated that authorities were looking into serious alleged offenses tied to the case, including 1 count M, which was later said to be confirmed by April 20th, pushing the situation even further into the spotlight.
That there is now pending in the Superior Court of the County of Los Angeles the above entitled grand jury investigation by the state of California against Target David Burke, wherein Target may be involved in having committed the following criminal offenses against the laws of the state of California, to wit, 1 count of murder. This is big. This is big because it was always a question of whether or not they were really investigating him and gathering evidence regarding a murder charge.
Some believe Neo may have deeper insight into what actually happened to Celeste, which only adds more attention to his role in all of this. And if you didn't know, older photos on Instagram show David and Neo getting very close, even recreating the famous Titanic pose while lying in bed together, along with several other moments that people are now re-examining closely.
You know who that person is, and do you believe that is the person that moved the Tesla?
So I believe I definitely know who moved that Tesla in that late July before they went on tour. I can't say who the person, and I don't mean I can't say for, but I don't know who exactly was in that house because it's just a report, but there's video, but you can't make a person out. But somebody was in the house, and being that there's only one key, it's like, okay, who had access at that time? So is it the same person that moved the Tesla? Was another last part of the plan about to go in motion as far as getting rid of her? I don't know.
As federal investigators started forming their theory, things only got more intense. Records show that David and Neo, who used to be seen together all the time, suddenly stopped following each other on Instagram, and that raised even more questions about what really went down. People are still asking, what actually happened to Celeste? And who placed her in the Tesla? Did she see or learn something important connected to David and his life as a public artist? Some believe that possibility can't be ignored, and it's a big reason why this case keeps pulling attention from everywhere. Now I want to hear what you think. Like this video if you believe David was involved, drop a comment explaining your take, and don't hold back because every opinion counts. Make sure you subscribe and share this with others who are following the case, because this story is still unfolding fast.